Video is for people who have been left feeling dismissed or unheard by their healthcare provider. Whether this be for your kids' health, which oftentimes we hear they'll grow out of it, which is that really true, especially when your child has something like colic or constipation, where it's showing them physical signs of distress. Do you really just want to take the sit around and wait approach? Or do you really want to actually get them help and support? For adults, oftentimes moms either they may have potentially low thyroid and they're suffering from fatigue. And then their provider says, oh, well, you're a mom. Of course, you're exhausted. And how dismissive that really is instead of truly looking deeper for the root cause. And oftentimes, this is something we hear all the time as holistic healthcare providers because people end up in holistic healthcare as an alternative option when they've been left feeling like they've taken more traditional routes and left without answers or not getting any better. And oftentimes we hear, I've done it all. This is my last option. This is my last ditch effort to try to feel better. And that's so sad because what that all comes back to is that comes back to a healthcare system that's not listening, a healthcare system that dismisses and also uses medication as, the option or the only alternative for true health versus really educating and supporting people to reach optimal health. And so they just say, oh, either just slap a medication on it or, oh, dismiss it. It's no big deal. Just sleep more. Or, of course, you feel like that. That's just what you're going to feel like forever. And oftentimes that people are like, I don't want to feel like this forever. I have instances where I've had patients with digestive issues, for example, and they're like, why do I have constant bloating? Why do I have constant GI distress? Why does my stomach always hurt? And yet I go to a gastroenterologist and they just tell me to take more probiotics. And it's like, is this just the only option? Is this the only alternative? And really, truly, you can start looking into, well, do they have any food sensitivities, any food allergies? What's going on in the root cause? Is a probiotic even the right option? Oftentimes, there's what's called SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And in that case, a probiotic can actually cause more distress because the issue is actually bacterial overgrowth. And so really what we're saying people are saying, hey, I have an issue. And they're felt like maybe their provider just slaps one option onto it instead of actually taking the time to listen to what's going on and truly seek out what the best alternatives and best answers can be for their health. Another option is oftentimes, fatigue is something that's so real and so prevalent, especially amongst like postpartum women and even moms, maybe a mom of multiples. And they're saying, hey, like I'm exhausted. I have really high anxiety. I don't feel well most of the time. And they're left feeling dismissed, saying, oh, well, of course, you're a mom. No wonder you're exhausted. You probably barely sleep. When in reality, potentially there's some inflammatory low thyroid, or potentially, high anxiety, which may be a product of high inflammation. There's so many other things going on. And it's really saying, is the only option we have just either treating it with a medication or saying it's no big deal, just get over it. It's all in your head. And that's really where holistic or alternative health comes in because we really want to look at the whole person. We want to look at the whole person and we want to understand. We want to sit down and we listen and saying, hey, what is going on and how can we help you? And if that's not us, where can we refer you to that's best? Or how can we work hand in hand and ultimately be pieces of the puzzle and have the puzzle all come together so that we can truly support you in reaching your healthcare goals and essentially optimal health. Especially, the word holistic even means multiple, like looking at it as a whole. And that's the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the physical. And so it's really saying, okay, like where does mental health maybe potentially have a role? Where does physical health maybe have a role? Where does spiritual health maybe have a role, etc. We're saying, hey, how can we come in and bring all of these things versus we'll just take more probiotics and it'll fix all your problems. And so, really, it's just saying, how can we support you? But that comes, the root of knowing how to support somebody best comes from being able to listen to the concerns that are bothering them the most or the most impactful. We talk about quality of life. So, what is impacting your quality of life? And how can we really reach and improve the things that matter the most to you? And it takes being able to listen to understand your concerns, where it's a grandparent saying, I want to be able to play on the ground with my kids. Like, that's my quality of life. And what is limiting me from being able to do that? Or it's a mom saying, I'm trying to just keep up with my kids to be the best mom I can be. Or it's, etc. There's all these different things, but it really is rooted in being able to listen to understand what's going on, being able to know how to treat something from multiple different angles, not just with a single tunnel minded approach, which we have a lot of specialties in today's healthcare system, where we have a lot of specialties that look at each individual thing, whether that be cardiologist or pulmonologist or an allergist or a GI specialist. Everyone's looking at this one specific thing, but in reality, everything all works together. So how can we take a global approach? We can look at it as a whole. We can understand what your concerns are, and we can also understand where we need to go to support you. So whether that be for your kids, for, maybe a baby experiencing colic, or potentially even digestive issues, or a mom that has extreme fatigue and is worn out and is saying, hey, why am I experiencing all of these symptoms? Why do I feel this bad? Your feeling and feeling that bad is valid, and it should be affirmed by your provider as opposed to being dismissed. So at Sunlife Chiropractic, we sit down, we love to have conversation and a consultation and saying, hey, let's dive in, let's get to the root cause. And then we were able to do some neurological scans that just give us more insight into the body as a whole and how the nervous system is functioning, which is on a global scale. And ultimately, how can we make a plan that's best suited for you to reach your goals? So go ahead, comment below if this resonates. Maybe tell your story on a healthcare provider that you sought out for your healthcare issues that maybe left you feeling disappointed in their response.